5PMNation.com.
Attorney Michael Avenatti has reportedly been arrested on federal extortion charges. Federal authorities announced Monday that Avenatti is being charged with attempting to extort more than $20 million in payments from Nike. Prosecutors have accused him of threatening to use his ability to garner publicity to inflict substantial financial and reputational harm on the company if his demands were not met. Avenatti is probably best known for representing Stormy Daniels in a high-profile legal battle against President Donald Trump. He's also flirted with the idea of running for president in 2020 and has become somewhat of a public adversary of the current commander-in-chief. Before his reported arrest, Avenatti tweeted he'd hold a press conference to discuss a major high school college basketball scandal perpetrated by Nike that we have uncovered. As of Monday morning, he had yet to comment on the charges.
Sleep. Like that.
There's no collusion. There's no collusion. Set up the framework. Yeah. Real as illusion. Follow me closely. Yeah. Make sure you're tuned in. I got quite a few predictions. That's confusing. But if you repeat some, then you repeat some, then you repeat some. That message becomes an earworm. Just like in this song. And that's your legion. Pledge their allegiance to it. Build your cathedrals for you. There's no collusion. There's no collusion. You and I both know whose words I'm producing. That phrase is useless, yeah. If you got 2 cents, you know obstruction of justice is just as stupid. And way more likely to be brought on charge than collusion. Well, Russian agents who did what they did on your end. While you most likely just did what you did for your win. And then just moved to make sure your legacy's certain. But was that obstruction? Might be obstruction. And there's a number of angles this box gets looked in. See, on the one hand, no evidence for colluding might lead to belief in your fans that guilt is not in your sermon. 4 more years you'll determine. But collusion ain't even the worst of it. Obstructive verdicts and perjury hang on your head with certainty. And I know just what you'll do when the sword falls vertically. You'll blame the FBI, the Democrats, and anybody else you can at any vertice. See, that's the Trump M.O. It fits perfectly. Release the memo. Forget my tax returns, but remember to say we're urgent. There's no collusion. There's no collusion. The Justice Department's responsible for any confusion. If he gets charged and sent to jail, not of collusion, his followers might see a cue to tear apart the institution. That's my warning. Yeah, that's my warning. I don't know about you, but I'm paying attention to their stories. There's no collusion. There's no collusion. What is collusion? Who was colluding? There's no collusion. Define collusion. There's no collusion. Define collusion.
Sequence starts. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh gosh, whatever shall we talk about? Hey everybody! Welcome, it's that time again. Matt Connarton Unleashed. Oh boy, I'm all choked up like Rachel Maddow. No, I just my throat gets a little messed up. It's a sign of spring. You know, the allergies are kicking up and everything, and it's all right in my throat. Anyway, yeah, welcome. It is March 25th. 2019. This is Matt Connarton Unleashed in the afternoon. We are live on WMNH 95.3 FM, emanating from glorious spring-like downtown Manchester, New Hampshire. Also on Comcast 97 in Manchester and streaming worldwide at WMNHradio.org and on the Matt Connarton Unleashed Facebook page. So the number to call today, 603-250-6007. I have a feeling I'll be getting a call or two. 603-250-6007 anytime in the next couple of hours. By the way, that track I played, that hip-hop track, was an artist named Ebb and Flow called No Collusion. Let's see. Oh, hello to, we've got a very active Facebook live chat already. Jane Gallup says hello from Connecticut. Hello, Jane. Derek Evan Relaford also joins us. Hello, Derek. Let's see. Candace Johnson, flash in the peace sign or the victory sign, whichever way you want to take it, I suppose, in the Facebook live chat. So we have a lot of folks who listen online from all over the country, all over North America. Well, I'm just going to say it, all over the world. Everyone is tuned in to Matt Connarton Unleashed. And by everyone, I mean just a bunch of people from various places, but not literally everyone. That would be nuts. Hello to Bill Christie in the Facebook live chat. Well, look, I mean, obviously, right, we all know where we have to start. The big news, the thing everybody's talking about. News broke a few days ago. Actually, as we were kind of close to when we were finishing up on Friday. So here it is, my friends, the big story. Roseanne Barr says Sarah Gilbert destroyed her show and her life. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? Yes, Roseanne Barr still very, very bitter over the loss of her show, Roseanne. And Sarah Gilbert, of course, taking over the show, and now it's simply called The Connors. And they wrote out Roseanne on the show, wrote her out of the storyline. It's really, all because she said something terribly racist on Twitter. Can you believe it? Apparently, she's still a little bit bitter. So there you have it, the big story. I'm kidding, of course. April Fool's Day isn't quite here yet, but I'm already getting into the mode of April Fool's Day. I'm quite the prankster, aren't I? That's why I have a radio show, so I can engage in all sorts of on-air broadcasting hijinks, my friends. Gotcha. Oh, boy. All right. No. We'll dig into the real big story that everybody's talking about today. Everybody dominating the media, both online and broadcast and in print and everything. Apparently, WWE has announced that for the first time ever, a women's match will headline the show this year in the main event at WrestleMania. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? I mean, us wrestling fans, this is a historic moment. This has never happened in the history of WrestleMania to have the women in the main event. Yes, Ronda Rousey defending her title in a triple threat match versus Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair. Oh, I wish I had a Ric Flair queued up for that. But there you go. That's the big news everybody's talking about today. There you go. There's almost nothing more to say, really. I mean, oh boy. So ironically, as I'm doing this, I don't know if y'all can even hear me right now because the emergency thing, I don't know if it goes out on the podcast or not, if you'll be able to hear. I don't know if you all can hear me right now, but the thing just went off that goes, the emergency broadcast thing. No one's ever really told me what to do when that happens. So I just keep talking. Actually, I'll tell you what I really do. I take a quick check online just to make sure that we're not at war. That's something I learned when I was a child. When the EAS goes off, of course, we didn't call it EAS back then. It was EBS, the Emergency Broadcast System. You just want to make sure that, the missiles aren't in the air and we're not all about to be incinerated in a series of mushroom clouds. I'm looking at CNN.com. I know some of you think CNN is fake news, but I'm looking at CNN.com and I don't see anything about nuclear war. So I'm going to assume it's only a test. Let's see. Oh, Heidi Hamer is in the Facebook live chat. She says, howdy. The Honorable Heidi Hamer, of course. John Hopwood is in the Facebook live chat and says, are you passing that Sharia law bill next week? Oh, he must be talking to Heidi. I didn't know about this Sharia law bill, of course. I thought we were all done with Sharia law after 8 years of Obama. Boy, that was a rough 8 years, huh? I'm kidding. John Hopwood says, at least all of my 4 wives will have the protections of the state. I'm a little bit confused. Sometimes with John Hopwood, he gets a bit going, and sometimes I can roll with it, and other times I'm like, what the hell is this guy talking about? And in this instance, by this guy, I do mean John Hopwood or John C. Hopwood or whichever of his many identities he may have chosen to, however he chooses to self-identify on that particular day. Now he's saying, at last, yes, I continue to not understand what he means. All right. All kidding aside, my friends. All right, John Hopwood is asking, are you going to apologize? Apologize. What would I be apologizing for? Here's the thing. And for those of you who are listening online from other parts of the country, you might not know this, but locally here in Manchester, of course, our local listeners are aware, I'm currently embroiled in a terrible scandal, but I will not apologize. I just made that up. No, I'm not. I have nothing to apologize for. Now, John says he refuses to apologize. Well, I think what John is referring to is I should apologize for buying into this whole Mueller probe thing deal, because the president apparently, it has been stated that in the Mueller report there is in fact no collusion, my friends, no collusion on the part of our president Donald John Trump. So, as far as apologizing, look, actually, my position, I'll just take a moment to remind everybody. I know Mike Doyle is out there just chomping at the bit to call in, 603-250-6007. I have said all along, my friends, that I was skeptical that Trump would knowingly cooperate with the Russians to get elected, because my position has always been, and it continues to be, I don't believe to this day that Trump ever really wanted to be president. And I know that's something John disagrees with me on. John says, no, Trump doesn't do anything to lose. But no, I still firmly believe that. And there are people who agree with me, some, that Trump never really wanted to be president, that in fact, oh, hello to Alderman Tim Baines, who joins us in the Facebook live chat. Hi, Tim. I don't believe that Trump wanted to be president. My position continues to be that this whole thing started as a publicity stunt. His contract was coming up with NBC for The Apprentice, and this was supposed to be a publicity stunt. He was going to run for president. People have been saying he should run for president for years. And he said, all right, finally, I'm going to do it, and to try to leverage more money out of NBC. And he ends up winning the presidency. He is truly the accidental president. And I still believe that. So I've always been skeptical that he, in fact, intended to be president. Now, he is far from out of the woods. I mean, the Mueller probe is over. But, well, we'll get into that in a moment. There's a lot of Facebook Live activity. By the way, that is one of the ways that you can participate in the show is on Facebook, on the Matt Connarton Unleashed Facebook page. Please give that a like if you haven't done so already. And, of course, you can call us at 603-250-6007. John Hopwood said, no, I meant for blanking on the carpet at the Hamer's house. That was not me, John Hopwood. That is a reference to a dog. John Hopwood, very, very speciest, very offensive, very bigoted. He likes to mock and denigrate me for my Yeti American heritage. I am, in fact, quite hairy as a Yeti American, but I am no dog. And I think if anyone owes anyone an apology, I would like a formal written apology from Mr. John Hopwood or John C. Hopwood, or however he's choosing to self-identify at any particular moment. These attacks cannot be excused. They cannot be justified. I am just a man doing the best I can, and in my case, by man, I actually mean Yeti. But you would think we'd be past all of this by now. Candace Johnson says, after over 25 million later, SMH for shake my head. Well, Candace, actually, now here's the thing about that, though. Well, two things to say about that. And I noticed you made a a comment. I know this will shock you, Candace, but I do disagree with you on this. Oh, hello to Brian Brody, host of All Natural Being, who I don't see him in the Facebook live chat, but he did like the video, so I assume that that he's listening. Hello, Brian. Let's see now. So two things I want to say, Candace. One is, I mean, as far as the money spent on the Mueller probe, the Mueller probe actually didn't cost us any money in the end. And here's why, because they made up whatever money was spent was made up in all the money that was recovered, because while the probe may not have yielded, although Trump has not been exonerated either, but let's not get too into the weeds on that part yet. Let's put that aside for a moment, and let's stick with the basics. No collusion, okay, or no appearance of collusion, no proof of collusion, fine. And like I said, I'm not entirely surprised by that. Now, having said that, I believe not only did we not lose any money on the investigation, the government actually made money, because while they didn't get Trump on collusion or anyone in the Trump campaign on collusion specifically, I think there were more than 40 indictments, people charged and convicted, or who are in the process of, or who are going to be convicted for all sorts of malfeasance, like Paul Manafort, like Michael Cohen, just to name the, two right off the top of my head. And there's many, many others, Rick Gates, and so on. Michael Flynn, I'm a little unclear on what's happening there with him. But so the point being, they've recovered millions and millions of dollars through this investigation. So the money, my understanding is the money that they've recovered with all these white-collar criminals, from all these white-collar criminals, the money that they've seized and recovered more than pays for the investigation itself. So it's actually a net profit, number one. Number two, Candace, the other thing I would say is you can't, to me, you can't practically say, well, we can't be wasting all this money on these investigations, because what's the alternative? So if you think something has happened, or someone in a position of authority to order an investigation thinks something happened, but you don't do anything about it, you don't investigate it because, it's going to cost money, so you just let everybody run wild and do whatever they want. I mean, you might as well not have any laws at that point, right? If you're not going to spend any money to investigate anything, just, I guess, I mean, I'm sure we'd still figure out a way to put poor people in jail. But I guess white-collar criminals, you just let them run free, let them run wild. So I have to respectfully disagree with you, Candace. I think the probe was worth doing. And, hey, if you're a Trump supporter, you should be glad. Again, this doesn't exactly exonerate Trump, but politically speaking, close enough. Legally, there's still some unanswered questions. But from a purely political standpoint, it is a great day for President Trump and for Trump supporters. No doubt about it. A great day for the Republican Party. And I would not argue that. And for that reason, by the way, if you are a Trump supporter, you should be glad that the Mueller probe happened, because Trump actually comes out on the other end of it in a better position than before it started, right? So it's a net positive for you Trump folk. Let's see. John Hopwood in the Facebook live chat, I wouldn't have said such a crude thing if I knew the Honorable Tim Baines was in the room. Well, the Honorable Tim Baines is in the Facebook live chat there, Mr. Hopwood, and he now can be fully apprised of your bigotry and your persecution of Yeti Americans such as myself, and what we have to live with. And then he said, yawn. I don't know what he's yawning at. And then he said, he's a winner, winning, referring to Trump, I guess. And then he says, I have to drop a letter about a conduct board off at City Hall later. And then he said, Heidi's a winner too. So John Hopwood being very verbose in the Facebook live chat, uncharacteristically so. He's typically a very shy, reserved, docile creature, that John Hopwood. But today he had a lot to say in the Facebook live chat. So anyway, that's kind of where we are, and we'll get into all this in a minute, but we have a call. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
Hey, Matt, Mike Doyle.
Mike Doyle, how are you, sir?
Good, how you doing? Just got back from vacation. Just flew in this morning from Florida.
Oh, welcome back.
Yeah, thanks. Hey, I wanted to correct you on one thing. You just said, just at the very end of what you said, that very good day for Trump supporters and Trump. Dude, we knew all along. We've been telling you all along this was made up and fake.
Well, you did.
How many times have I said to you the name of the supposed spy that was never interviewed by the Mueller probe? This is just made up. It was 100% made up. We've been telling you all along, but so for me, it's not like a great day because I knew all along there was nothing coming out of this. It was made up.
Well, Mike, from my perspective, you didn't know all along, but you certainly hoped. Maybe you had a gut feeling, but I don't see how you could have known all along. But by the way,
how many times have I mentioned you the name Carter Page?
Yeah, didn't Carter Page say on MSNBC when they did that gang interview on Ari Melber's show that he had talked to the FBI or that he had talked to Mueller? By the way,
no, the FBI talked to him way back when, not Mueller, nothing to do with Mueller.
Yeah,
the FBI talked to him. That's how they had to get the dossier to say.
I don't think that's right.
Because Carter Page is a Russian spy. That's how it all started, my friend.
I don't remember anyone saying he was a. I don't remember it. I don't remember anyone saying he was a Russian spy.
The bottom line is they all got caught in the Hillary web. All right, the Clinton web. It's what it is. They all thought they were going to be able to help. They all thought she was going to win, so they would all get higher jobs and better jobs, etc. And it just didn't turn out that way. So
I don't know.
And I'm sure your guy from Fred's going to call up and say something silly like he did last time about the website. I remember I was talking to him about the laptop, and he goes, "Oh, it wasn't a laptop; it was a BlackBerry that she destroyed."
Right.
So that's all going to come out soon anyway. So. We'll see what happens. But, hey, good show as usual.
All right. Thank you for the call, Mike.
Talk later.
All right. Bye-bye. Thought I might be hearing from Mike Doyle today. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to check on that Carter Page thing. I think Carter Page said on MSNBC Mueller did talk to him. But I've never quite understood how the Carter Page aspect of this just somehow completely negated the entire investigation, as Mike seems to think. But that's his position. Let's see. John Hopwood says, I should apologize to Mike Doyle. Yes, I'm so sorry. Candace Johnson says, over a 2 years fiasco, and if IRS was doing their job, all government officials should be checked, period. And John Hopwood says, I apologize, Candace. John Hopwood is apologizing to Candace. Or is John Hopwood suggesting I should say I apologize, Candace? Candace says he didn't give uranium away or $140 million in cash. JS, why would they want him over HC? I assume HC is Hillary Clinton. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't really do the what about thing, I want all criminals to be charged and prosecuted and go to prison. So to me, whatever Hillary might or might not have done or someone connected to her might or might not have done, what are you supposed to say? Oh, well, I think somebody on the left did something dirty, therefore Paul Manafort should have just gotten away with stealing millions of dollars. I don't, maybe it's because I'm an independent. I mean, I don't consider myself a conservative or a liberal. So regardless of anyone's ideology, I want criminals to be investigated regardless of how much it costs. I want criminals of all stripes to be investigated, prosecuted, and if found guilty, put in prison. I don't care who it is. I don't care what their party affiliation is. And, I know a lot of Republicans and a lot of Democrats like to play the whataboutism game. It's one of the many reasons, I could probably list off 10 reasons rapid fire off the top of my head why I'm an independent and why I refuse to pick an ideology. But that's one of them. If you're a conservative or a liberal, you have to believe that everyone on the other side is dirty and needs to be prosecuted for all kinds of things. And everybody on your own side is probably just pure as the driven snow. And, like Mike Doyle said, we knew all along Trump hadn't done anything wrong. By the way, I will be curious to see what those of you who know all along that Trump hasn't done anything wrong, what happens when, there is a criminal investigation in progress, by the way. And that's the other thing I want to mention. I just want to remind everybody, okay? I'm not surprised that the Mueller probe turned out the way it did because, like I told you, I didn't know it all along, but I really never fully bought, because I don't think Trump ever really wanted to be president, that he intentionally colluded with Russia. I did think it was very possible that someone associated with him, and actually Manafort, I almost said Mueller, Manafort, too many M's. Manafort did. Manafort, we found this out not through the Mueller probe, which I hope we get to read ultimately, but we found this out through Manafort's own very sloppy attorneys who accidentally released some documents to the public that they thought had been redacted. Turns out, with a couple of keystrokes in Microsoft Word, you could unredact everything in these documents, which somebody in the media figured out pretty quickly. And it turned out that Manafort, during the campaign, while he was chairman of the Trump campaign, was actively sharing information with Russian operatives, was actively sharing polling information with Russian operatives. So at the very least, Paul Manafort, we found out, was in fact colluding with the Russians. But part of my theory about all of this was, I said, it's very possible. Oh, hello to Jenny, who joins us in the Facebook live chat. I said right from the beginning, it's very possible that Trump didn't do anything, but people around him did. Because even though I don't think that Trump ever really wanted to be president, and believe me, and I'm sure, well, I mean, I can't say I'm sure. I can't read the guy's mind. I would guess, though, that he probably wakes up every day, maybe a little less so now that the Mueller probe is almost kind of, sort of in the rearview mirror. Well, not entirely. We'll see. There's still some questions to be answered, but it looks like he can probably sleep a little easier now. But so maybe not so much now, but I would imagine he does wake up on many a day and just think, oh, God, why did I do this? And I know Trump supporters don't want to hear that, because you want to believe that, no, he believed that Barack Obama had ruined the country and that only he could save it, and he did this because he loves his country so much. I don't buy it. Hey, doesn't mean things aren't going well in a lot of ways. And I'll completely acknowledge that, by the way. The economy's still performing very well. There are positive things happening. Life ain't too bad right now in a lot of ways. It could also be better in a lot of ways. But, I said on Facebook, well, I said before that if Trump, Trump supporters will like what I'm going to say here, because you probably don't like a lot of what I've said in the last few minutes. But I've said if Trump survives the Mueller probe, which I thought all along was quite possible, and if the economy remains strong long enough to get to the election, I think he has an excellent chance of winning re-election. I really do. I think he has a great shot at a second term. And I don't really know, and we'll get into this part too. I don't really know what the Democrats do from here, because I will give some credit to Nancy Pelosi. She was right to try to tell the Dems in the House, hey, stop talking about impeachment. STFU with all the impeachment talk. That's not going to help us, because this might not go our way. And she was right. But there are a lot of very undisciplined Democrats who, all through this process, man, they should have played it cool. They should have played it cool, but they didn't. They couldn't help themselves. They're, just chomping at the bit. Who was the one? I forget her name now. Rashida somebody? The one who said, she got elected to the House. She said, we're going to impeach the MFer. She didn't say MFer, but, this is FM radio. It's like, and that kind of thing, you don't do that, because it can blow up in your face so easily. Let's see. I got to back up here. We got a lot of Facebook live chat activity today. Let's see. Candace says, drain the whole swamp, brother. I agree. I'm with you there. John Hopwood says, you're innocent until proven guilty, Yeti. Fair enough. John Hopwood says, has anyone heard a Yeti apologize? I don't like where you're going with this. Then he says, are Yetis swamp creatures, Candace? That is offensive and hurtful and cruel. How dare you? Then Hopwood says, Manafort's lawyer is no lightweight. Interesting comment, because there is a theory. Because, and by the way, it's not the first time that, although I think it's the first time during Manafort's legal ordeal that something that severe has happened, but not the first time that Manafort's legal team really kind of blew it on something. And I forget what the other thing was. There was another big thing and maybe another little thing. But this was a big thing when those documents came out, and it turned out they thought that they had redacted them, but you could easily unredact them and see what they said and see that, yeah, Manafort did collude. Because Hopwood makes that comment, Manafort's lawyer was no lightweight. There is a theory that it was actually done intentionally, that those documents were released that way intentionally. You know, they redacted them sort of to give themselves plausible deniability, but they wanted the information actually out there because they wanted it to get to Trump, because this is kind of, you know, plus Manafort's lack of flipping, that this whole thing was kind of sending signals to Trump saying, hey, you know, I'm still here if you want to give me a pardon. So there may be something to that. I don't know. And I don't know if that's exactly what John is referring to with that comment. But John says, do you think Manafort did the same thing when he was with McCain's campaign? Yeah, well, you know, maybe perhaps the ghost of John McCain will pop in and we can ask him. Apparently he's floating around. Hopwood says, operatives, does anyone have a pooper scooper? Then he said, folks, I apologize. Then he says, I'm coming downtown to apologize. Then he says, I'm going to be there anyways. Very, very verbose today, John Hopwood. Like I said, he's usually such a quiet, reserved, docile creature. Candace Johnson says, I disagree. He was in it for the win, and I truly believe people just didn't want HC crap again. Well, you know, we can agree to disagree on that, Candace, but I'll tell you what, the night of the election when Trump walked out to give his speech, to me, that looked like a man who just wanted to cry. And it's the only time I can recall seeing that particular expression on his face. I think he felt like, oh, God, what have I done? But who knows? Hey, you might be right. John Hopwood says, Donald John Trump is the risen something, or in God we trust, all others pay cash. Is somebody taping this? Carol Becker says, Hopwood is kind of taking over the chat. So surprising, isn't it, Carol? By the way, Carol Becker, just to remind everyone, and to remind Carol, and to remind John, Carol Becker is supposed to, at some point in the future, be going out on a date with the venerable Mr. Hopwood. And Carol, I will warn you in advance, and I'm secure enough in my own masculinity to say this. He is a sexy beast, so be prepared. Candace said, after all him and his family have been through, wow, he is strong. Who'd want that job? I don't know if I consider the way Trump lashes out at people. I think he's pretty insecure, to be honest with you. I mean, the guy is currently feuding. Donald Trump is currently his biggest feud right now is literally with a dead guy who can't insult him back, John McCain. So I don't particularly agree. Carol says, good point, Candace. Candace said, what's going on with Nike? Oh, we're going to get to that. Hello to Gia in the Facebook live chat. She says, yo. Gia is the host of a show online you can find called Blunt Force, a great program. Candace says, remember how HC acted that night, LOL. The night of the election? I actually don't remember. You're going to have to refresh my memory, Candace. I don't. Are you referring? I think she wouldn't give a concession speech until the next day, I think, right? Is that what you're referring to? Well, yeah, but Candace did mention Nike. And I played a clip from Newsy actually at the beginning of the show. Michael Avenatti, I guess not all my predictions are accurate, right? I predicted at one time that Michael Avenatti would in fact be our next. No, I'm kidding. I never predicted that. I did predict at one time, however, that Michael Avenatti would in fact be a show host on MSNBC, because he was on for a while there, right? He was on there every single night, and he would go on CNN and wouldn't go on Fox. He went on Tucker Carlson's show once, and that was an interesting event. I think I did play the audio of that on the show when it happened. But yeah, Michael Avenatti looks like he will not be running for president, nor will he have his own show on MSNBC, nor will he be doing much of anything, because he's probably going to prison. Yes. Today just gets better and better for President Donald John Trump, doesn't it? Boy, now there had been rumors for a while and rumblings of Avenatti was kind of dirty. And in fact, when he went on Tucker Carlson's show on Fox, because Tucker apparently had taken to referring to Avenatti as a, quote, creepy porn lawyer. And apparently Tucker or his producers or someone had told Avenatti when they were finally able to lure him on that we will not do that to you. We will not refer to you that way while you're on the show. We will be respectful and so forth. And what they ended up doing was Tucker did not verbally use the phrase creepy porn lawyer while Michael Avenatti was on the show, but on the chyron on the bottom of the screen, it said creepy porn lawyer. So anyway, this is all over the news. Let's see. Oh, Candace says all of her supporters that worked their butts off waited on her long hours, and she wouldn't come out to even thank them. Too busy throwing a fit and meltdown. LOL. I kind of felt sorry for those people. Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, and I'm no fan of Hillary Clinton, but I'll go a step further, Candace. I actually, on some level, felt a little bit badly for Hillary Clinton, only because, and again, I'm no fan, and I didn't vote for her. I didn't vote for either Trump or Hillary. I didn't like either of them, and I usually vote for third party, and I did vote for Libertarian candidate Gary Johnson, just as I did in 2012. But I'll tell you, I've thought about this, and as a person of empathy, I can't help but think about things like this. Hillary Clinton, can you imagine, and not just her, but anybody who comes very, very close to winning the presidency. And in her case, you know, she ran in 2008. She was the presumptive nominee at the beginning of the campaign. You know, Barack Obama comes along. People are excited about Obama. Oh, he's charismatic. He's this, he's that. Isn't he interesting? You know, but, he might be a threat. He might be a challenge to Hillary, but, we'll see. But she'll be the nominee. And then he ends up winning. And then this time in 2016, Hillary actually snags the nomination, and she's up against a deeply unpopular candidate in Trump. I mean, obviously the base loved him, but, could never beat Hillary in any of the polling. And, it really looked, and then that Access Hollywood, when that audio came out, I mean, that really looked like it was the end. I mean, famously, Reince Priebus, who was head of the RNC at the time, told Trump, you either get out of this race now, or you're going to end up suffering the biggest defeat electorally in the history of presidential politics. I mean, they were telling him, get out. He said, no, I'm not getting out. So Hillary had every reason to believe she was going to win this time. And I just, again, as a person of I don't like her, but as a person of empathy, I cannot help but wonder what it must be like. What it must be like mentally and emotionally. What an unbelievably mind-effing it must be to be that close. To be that close to getting the one thing you want more than anything in the world. To be that close. To think that you have it. To be sure that you have it. There's no reason you shouldn't have it. To be that close and have it slip through your fingers. What must that be like? And what must that do to a person? And there's stories of, people become very depressed after they lose a big election like that and so forth. John Kerry allegedly went into a very deep depression in 2004 after losing. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
Your old pal, Mr. Apologies himself.
Oh, you threw me off with your old pal thing, because that's how Fred always, whenever Fred Boenig from the dailyripple.org calls, he always says your old pal Fred. So for a brief second there, I thought you were Fred, just with maybe a bad cold or something, and that's why your voice sounded funny.
I've been close, and I was just thinking about that the other day.
Close to the presidency?
No, close to what you want most of all in the world.
Ah, yes. But
I got too drunk that night in Las Vegas.
Oh, right. Was that the night you tried to hook up with Debbie Wasserman Schultz?
No, it did have something to do with Pete Rose, but I'm not at liberty to talk about it.
Oh,
Hey, POE.
P-
POE. Is that like Peace on Earth from Dr. Strangelove? Have you finally gone off your rocker because Trump
I don't know what POE is.
Winning right now.
What is?
And I've got to park now. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye. All righty. Well, that was a fascinating discussion. I don't know what POE means. Is that one of these acronyms, that the kids are using nowadays? I'm going to have to look that up. I try to be as contemporary as possible to, keep bringing in the youth to the show. Let's see. Candace says, I guess her depends were in a wad, LOL. Oh, my goodness, Candace. Dr. Jeff Cassell joins us in the Facebook live chat. Candace says, it was all Bernie's fault, LOL. Yeah, I wouldn't blame it on Bernie, although he probably didn't help. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
Person of empathy.
Oh, is that what all the kids are saying now?
That's what you described yourself as.
Well, I did, but when you said POE, I know the kids like the acronyms for texting, like, WTF and STFU and all that. So is this a new one, POE? I'm going to start using it.
Yeti, I've got a very thick belt, and I'm going to be taking it off my britches. I'm going to collar you soon.
That's not
You're going to apologize.
That's not for this show. That's for Matt Connarton Unsheathed. How dare you? Oh, my goodness. He's coming in here with a belt. He's going to collar me. I'm really not dressed for that. If I'd known, I would have worn my leather suit. Let's see. A lot of people did kind of blame Bernie, the suggestion being that by the time Hillary got to the nomination, Bernie had done so much damage to her that she couldn't possibly win. I don't really buy that. I mean, I do think that. Well, actually, I want to finish up on this. Avenatti thing, and then maybe we'll come back to all this. Let's see. So here's what happened in case you're just catching up. So Michael Avenatti, this is from thehill.com. The former attorney for adult film star Stormy Daniels has been charged with bank fraud and extortion, federal prosecutors in California and New York announced on Monday. Well, he is an ambitious man. Avenatti was arrested the same day in New York, according to multiple reports. The frequent critic of President Trump had earlier announced a press conference for Tuesday, quote, to disclose a major high school college basketball scandal perpetrated by Nike, unquote. Prosecutors in the two states had leveled separate charges against Avenatti. The New York charges relate to allegations Avenatti had threatened to harm the Nike using his, I think it's supposed to be the Nike brand or the Nike name. The way this is written is, don't these websites have proofreaders? It just says harm the Nike, using his public profile unless the apparel company paid him $10 million. That sounds like extortion to me, my friends. I mean, I remember that kind of thing going on, when I was a kid. Like if one of my classmates wanted my apple pie from my school lunch, and she was like, I'm going to tell Mrs. So-and-so what you did if you don't give me your apple pie. And I would say, you're trying to extort my apple pie, and I shall not stand for it, sir. That's actually not how that went at all. Let's see. Candace said she did, I guess, in her book. Oh, blame Bernie. Yes, of course. Gia says the sex show is on BF later. Baha. Yes. Blunt Force. Tonight will be the sex episode airing online. You won't be hearing that on terrestrial radio, my friends. Too hot for the FCC. Let's see. Prosecutors in the 2 states. I already read that part. Okay. So, quote, "A few $1 million doesn't move the needle for me. I'm just being really frank with you," unquote, charging documents from the Southern District of New York, quote, Avenatti is saying, quote, "So if that's what's being contemplated, then let's just say it was good to meet you and we're done, and I'll proceed with my press conference tomorrow," unquote. Wow. If that's true, so a couple things about that are interesting to me. I am going to, as we talk about the Trump stuff later in the show, we'll come back to the talking about the Southern District of New York because as I said on Facebook, it was either last night or this morning, I said, really in all of this, the Mueller probe was only the opening act. The Southern District of New York investigation, SDNY, is really the main event, if you will. But it probably won't, but that'll probably drag on, and it's not going to affect Trump going into 2020. Oh, hello to Christian Connarton, who joins us in the Facebook live chat. But the other thing that's interesting to me about this Avenatti thing is look, I myself, I've never attempted to extort or blackmail anyone. But if I were to do so, I don't think I would do it in an email. It seems like that's something, if you're going to do something, illegal like that, you don't put it into some sort of document that can then be given to law enforcement. Let this be a teachable moment for everyone. If you are going to extort someone for millions of dollars, don't send them an email explaining what you're doing. Maybe you, hello to Jeff Scumpy Lorenz in the Facebook live chat. You don't email it to them. Maybe you, I don't know how you do it, actually. It's not something I've ever done. Nor do I think I will, because apparently if you do it and you get caught, you end up in prison. Let's see. In Los Angeles, prosecutors alleged Avenatti had embezzled a client's money to pay for his own debts and expenses, as well as for costs from his coffee business and law firm. Quote, "A lawyer has a basic duty not to steal from his client," unquote, said U.S. Attorney Nick Hanna in the California case. Quote, "Mr. Avenatti is facing serious criminal charges alleging he misappropriated client trust funds for his personal use, and he defrauded a bank by submitting phony tax returns in order to obtain millions of dollars in loans," unquote. Wow. This is, geez. This is some big stuff here. Let's see. The Central District of California said Avenatti also defrauded a Mississippi bank by submitting false tax returns to obtain $4.1 million in loans for his law firm and coffee business in 2014. He is also alleged to have submitted a fictitious partnership tax return for his law firm as part of the loan applications. Oh, my goodness. Well, I have to say this. I'm no legal expert of any kind, but it sounds to me like if Michael Avenatti did, in fact, do all of this and he is convicted of such, he's likely to end up in prison for a very long time. I mean, he might be in there for longer than, actually, from what I read somewhere, he might be. This could add up to more than 100 years in the Hooskow. He might be in there longer than Paul Manafort. Maybe not, because Paul Manafort's probably going to die in prison. But Christian Connarton says, isn't sending an email that's the polite way to extort someone? I think if you're going to extort someone, maybe here's what I would do. Now, again, I would never do this, right? But I would, rather than sending an email, I would probably show up in person. I would probably say, hey, can you and I talk privately? And then I would, if hopefully, you're in a state where you can't be wiretapped without your consent and so forth. And I would just say something like, hey, I got some stuff to catch up on, and I don't know if you have a little extra cash, but seems to me I heard about something bad that you did or something like that. A lot of vague language, and yeah, but even then, I mean, it's not the right thing to do. You really shouldn't go around extorting people. I think it might be one of the 10 commandments. I'm not sure. I'm not really much of a theologian, but Michael Avenatti sounds like he could be looking at a whole lot of prison. I do seem to recall there was something with at one point with Stormy Daniels where she was upset with the way Michael Avenatti had represented her, and I wonder if she is someone from whom he may have embezzled some money. This is a terrible scandal, but again, Trump's day, Trump's obviously having a good day. I'm sure it just got all that much better when the news of Michael Avenatti broke. Who are you today, sir?
You know who I am.
I'm afraid I do.
I can't take off my belt because my pants will fall off.
Well, that's what you get. That's why you shouldn't have threatened to come in here and take off your belt. And, it sounds a little, let's see. Candace says, wow, we need an IRS SWAT team. So much of this going on. My goodness. Well, I notice you have your U.S. Army hat on.
Aye.
Why is that?
Why not?
You going back into the military?
I guess we all will be soon.
Oh, my goodness. That's terrible. I don't want to go in the military. I don't want to be told what to wear and have to get up early. That sounds crazy. Who would do that? Well, you did.
Have you apologized yet?
Have I apologized to whom?
Mike Doyle, I apologize.
Oh, yes. I mean, I think I said it half-heartedly and sarcastically, but sure.
I didn't hear you apologize to Mike Doyle.
Yeah, I think I said... no, I have nothing to apologize for. I said from the beginning I didn't think Trump colluded because I don't think he wanted to be president. But I did suspect... Oh, and Rudy Giuliani, you know what Giuliani said? He said... let me see if I can find it now. Giuliani admits... I was always afraid Mueller probe would uncover someone colluded without Trump's knowledge. And it's interesting that he would admit that he was worried about that, because that was one of my theories, was that Trump knew nothing. He was just kind of a useful idiot in the whole thing. But that is, I don't know what those hand signals mean, but that he was, maybe Don Jr. I mean, for a long time, there was a suspicion that Don Jr. was going to get indicted.
What about those Washington Post articles from inside sources that laid it all out, that Donald Jr. and them were right there, colluding as like hell? What happened to that?
I don't know. Maybe the Washington Post should apologize.
I've never seen anything like this in my life.
Like what?
Can't you see what's going on?
What's going on?
You can't be that naive.
What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Admit what?
You can't admit. You were bamboozled.
How was I bamboozled?
You're here, we're constantly putting down our favorite president.
Well, that is true. I do think he's a blithering fool and a despicable person, yes.
Well, I'm not going to argue on those points.
But I did say all along that I was not convinced by any means that he colluded.
So where did the Washington Post get all this great information? From John McCain?
I don't know. Now, we're going to be careful now. You're going to summon his ghost. He's been making the rounds.
That's right.
The ghost of John McCain.
Well, I'm not afraid of John McCain.
Oh,
maybe his father.
Well, maybe you should be afraid of John McCain.
Who's a full admiral and a war hero.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What's that?
John McCain is the person that gave the Steele dossier to Comey, the first 33 pages, after one of his Confederates, his associates, just managed to leave it in a room so it could be photographed, where it would later appear in Gawker, because there's a libel lawsuit coming out, and all that's coming out now, too.
I have a clear record of bipartisanship.
You see what you've done? Now he's here. Did you feel that cold wind in the room?
Mister, I make my biggest decisions by, tugging on my zipper, McCain.
I'm very happy with where we are.
Well, see?
Like I told you, I've interviewed both of them, and with Sarah, I can understand, but I wasn't running for president.
Absolutely not.
Well, yeah.
You know, I like the part how about Manafort, who's being employed by the same Putin puppet, working for McCain and other Republicans. But suddenly, he's so Simon Pure then with this great war hero in a war that had no
is
hero.
your opinion.
Yeah. Well, the ghost of John McCain
Must be
doesn't agree.
Dropping jellied gasoline to burn the flesh off Vietnamese peasants. It's a heroic act, don't you think?
I would have to frown on that, actually. But I'm one of these, anti-war peacenik type people.
For, human decency.
Well,
You and I just have a fundamental disagreement.
Right, dropping the 500-pound bombs on the peasants.
Even in death, he's not sorry about that.
So when
you're exactly right.
So when they survive, their ears are streaming blood from the concussion.
Well,
that's something heroic.
I thank you, my friend.
I don't think he knows you were being sarcastic. He just the ghost of John McCain just thanked you.
Oh,
I don't think he understands irony in the afterlife.
Do you think there's a bag man up there waiting?
I'll get
waiting
Osama
for
bin
him.
Laden, my friends. I'll get him. I know how to get him. I'll get him no matter what, and I know how to do it.
Wait, how's he going to do if is McCain in hell? Is that why? That doesn't make sense. He's an American hero. That's terrible. I can't believe
a real
this.
American hero.
I think it would be valuable if you gave me some examples.
What gets me is how the Democrats, which ostensibly is my party, they just flip and they become, Reagan Republicans, embracing the all wonderful FBI, the one we all grew up with, knowing what it was capable of, or the CIA.
Oh.
The Church Commission findings are right online. When you go on there, though, your antiviral software will say, this is a suspicious site.
Oh, my. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
Hey, it's Ridley.
Dave Ridley from the Ridley Report. How are you, sir?
Oh, pretty good. There are many Ridleys, but only one Ridley Report.
That's right.
Are you sure about that?
That's actually not true. Sorry, I take that back. I think my, I don't know if he's an ancestor or relative, Nicholas Ridley, was once a minister in the Thatcher government, and he issued a thing called the Ridley Report. I think his first name was Nicholas.
Oh, okay.
It was like a government document, basically.
It's like two scumpies.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, but in the end, there can be only one. But that's a separate issue. Well, what's on your mind today, Dave Ridley of the Ridley Report?
Have you guys been following the Mike Sylvia case very much?
No, we're following the Donald John Trump case.
Who is Mike Sylvia? I know nothing of this.
He's a state rep. I guess you call him part of the Liberty faction. He, I guess he's in Belmont, and apparently the town has decided to come after him. They're claiming that he modified his garage without permission, and that he lived in his RV without permission.
Yeah, that's right. I have followed this story.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I'm glad people are hearing about this. That's not the first time I've bumped into someone kind of randomly that already knew about it. I'm glad you're paying attention to it.
The Union Leader wrote about it like a couple months ago.
Good.
Oh, okay. Oh. So what's now? So give us the update.
Well, the Laconia Sun is reporting that the town, they're trying to inflict a punishment on him, and the punishment is he's just supposed to pay them $158,000.
For what? Wait, for what? And how do they come up with that number?
I don't know. It's
John
like
McCain's ghost.
It's a civil penalty they're trying to impose. They're trying to get a judge to approve it, and then on top of that, then they want him after that to reimburse their legal fees.
Jeez, that's bizarre. And what did he do that was wrong? You can't live in your RV without a permit or something?
Yeah.
They're alleging he didn't have a permit for the RV. He's claiming that he hasn't violated any of their rules or any state laws or anything like that. I guess he's going to cite a case to that effect, but I don't know exactly what his arguments are going to be. He's representing himself.
Oh, well, okay. Do you know when he goes to court?
June 24th is what I believe would be called the trial. He's been in court already.
Okay.
At least once.
Yeah.
And something is scheduled for June 24th. either a hearing or a trial, but probably a trial.
Yes. Wow.
Yes.
Well, geez. All right. Well, what else is on your mind today, Dave Ridley?
Well, actually, more thoughts about his situation.
Oh.
I think that it's always good to have some sort of action item, even if it's not very effective.
Yes.
What was what Gandhi said? What you will do will be insignificant, but it's very important that you do it.
Yes, because you influence people, not, by your actions.
Right, right.
Absolutely.
The thing I do, and I would urge others to do, you don't necessarily have to be in Belmont to do it. Just know that your town is similar to Belmont, right? This is a system that pervades every square habitable inch of the Americas, and the thing I do is just vote no on any spending they want. I don't care what they're asking for. If they're planning on saving the Earth from an asteroid, I vote no.
Right.
Dave, this is Manchester, New Hampshire. We're all Simon Pure here. You must know that.
That's right.
Oh, you're
what?
We're all Simon Pure here in Manchester, New Hampshire. You must know that.
Okay.
You used to cover the civil hall beat or whatever the hell it is over there. What is
you're
it?
exactly right.
City Hall.
City
That's
Hall.
where we go. Yeah, oh yeah. We're going to eminent domain, City Hall.
Oh, that's exciting.
Give it back to the Amoskeag Company.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Excellent.
Not me, of course.
Oh, right. Yeah. Well, what else you got, Dave? Anything else?
Oh, I don't know. I hadn't prepared 2 items of news. I guess one thing that's interesting that I noticed was that this is on a different subject. The Coalition of New Hampshire Taxpayers is reporting that I guess like 96 or 98% of Democrats, something like that. It may have been 99. It's a ridiculously high percentage of Democrats in the State House voted in favor of the plastic straw restrictions.
Heidi didn't.
No? Heidi Hamer?
No, but she is promoting the Sharia law bill,
Oh, wow.
I asked her to.
Oh, my goodness.
It's a personal thing.
Yes. No, the straw thing, though, is a big, that's become a big issue nationally.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, okay, right? So I'm assuming they must have put some provisions in there for quadriplegics that actually need to use straws in order to live, to continue breathing in and out.
Good
but
point.
We'll see. I mean, you never know you never know who they're going to leave out.
That's true, yeah.
That's an interesting statement, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's. Oh, by the way, the ghost of John McCain is haunting us. If you didn't recognize the voice, he sounds a little different from the afterlife, but he's able to communicate with us through all this electronic equipment
And through all the flames.
Yes.
But I guess, fortunately, a similar number, maybe 95% roughly of Republicans voted against it. To me, it's a reminder of the fact that at the national level, Republicans are not they're not the relatively pro-freedom faction. They're just as bad as the Democrats.
Why?
But
Because they want straws?
in New Hampshire, it feels to me as though just over all the years that the Republicans really are closer to being pro-freedom in New Hampshire, the State House, than the Democrats are.
One of the burning issues of our times, plastic straws.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, there's a lot of.
Are they allowed under Sharia law? I think they are.
I would hope so.
Get through.
Well, I don't know. I remember using a straw during the Obama administration.
It is funny how people, they lose their S-bomb over Sharia whatever, something they've never been exposed to in real life, that's never been imposed on them, or probably anyone they know. But but stuff that will dramatically affect their lives, they don't get excited about it.
Dave, first you got the real ID, and then you have Sharia law. They're interlocked. You should know that.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, I mean, I'm affected by the real ID. I'm not affected by Sharia law.
Yeah.
But you don't have to have a real ID, or do you, Dave?
Oh. Well, Sharia law...
Yeah, we'll find out. We'll find out next time I go to an airport, I guess. There's
a certain individual, and I'm not going to... This was an off-air conversation.
Obama?
No, and it's someone I like personally, so I'm not going to say who it was, but back when I used to be Gary Hopper's co-host on Rock, Paper, Hand Grenades, this particular individual said in the green room after the show, she goes, she's very...
You have to mention the gender? Couldn't you just go on X?
No.
Okay.
No, I should have. But no, she's very worried about Sharia law, and she actually all bug-eyed, literally. She I remember her saying to me, and I'm not. This is
she could be forced into those marriages.
This is an exact quote. I'm not kidding. She said to me, "Before long, you're not going to be able to walk down the street without getting your head cut off." And and her example was allegedly that's what's happening in Dearborn, Michigan, where there's.
I was just about to say that in
Michigan.
Michigan.
They're just cutting off heads everywhere.
I've probably heard the story before from the Yeti. Did you tell the story before?
No, that's not
it must
correct.
be my psychic powers. It's spring, after all.
I strongly disagree with your assertion.
That's right. The ghost of John McCain has spoken on that. So
that's a good imitation, John.
Yeah, he does do a great John McCain.
Yeah, I just
that is remarkable.
Never mind.
He's a master impressionist. You should see John do Bugs Bunny. Oh no! You're going to do more John McCain?
Yeah,
I want to win, obviously.
Well, that's very good.
And, it's hard to shift gears, when you're so talented.
Yeah, well, I know.
I think it would be valuable if you gave me some examples.
That is great. I mean, Dave, do you feel like you're actually talking to John McCain?
I hope I don't have to ever feel that way.
Yes.
Well, it's only a matter of time. He might be haunting you in the future.
It's all about the future.
That's right.
Under Sharia law, we have to listen to him.
But he did. I'll give him one thing. He did invoke against the United States use of torture, and I appreciate that.
Yes, he did. Yep, he and Lindsey Graham, and there was one other person too. No, there was a 3-man coalition of Republicans who really took on the George W. Bush administration. It was McCain, Lindsey Graham, and
Coco LaBoy.
No, I can picture the other guy too, but I can't. He became Obama's Secretary of Defense, but he was a Republican.
That was Coco LaBoy.
No. Unless that's your nickname for the guy I'm thinking of, whose name I can't remember.
Well, Coco LaBoy he came in number 4 in the Rookie of the Year voting when he was with the Expos.
Yes.
All right. John McCain agrees with you, so I guess it was him.
He was the senator from Quebec.
Oh.
Where's Glenn? He can back this up.
Glenn would know.
Or was it New Brunswick? I always get those northern states mixed up.
Very hurtful.
Dave, you got anything else for us today?
That's all, boys.
What about the jingle?
Oh, yes, the jingle, please. Give the Ridley Report a plug.
Ridley Report, doing stories that are long and stories that are short, asking nasty questions, letting bureaucrats retort. Ridley Report.
Yes. Very nice, very nice. All right, Dave Ridley, thank you for the call, my friend.
Okay, you're welcome.
All right, bye-bye.
Isn't it strange that Dave talks about people that are obsessed with Sharia law rather than plastic straws, yet he didn't say a dang thing about our favorite president, Donald John Trump?
That's true.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, he doesn't.
There is an Antichrist.
He doesn't really. Dave doesn't really talk about Trump. I think Dave's more focused on more local issues, I guess.
Well, Donald John Trump, our favorite president, is for freedom. All kinds of freedom. Grab him by this, sue him that way. Anything that goes. Anything.
No.
All right.
Goes.
Well, that's not according.
No.
Not according to the ghost of John McCain.
That requires a cool hand at the tiller.
That's right. Well, we're going to take a break. Let's see. Oh, I had something I wanted. Oh, yes. Devin Nunes has been in the news.
Who's that?
Congressman from California attempting to sue Twitter because he doesn't like these satirical Twitter accounts that have been making fun of him, like Devin Nunes' cow or Devin Nunes' mom. So we have a song. Oh, hello to Fred Boenig from thedailyripple.org, who joins us in the Facebook live chat. Fred, give us a call in a few minutes if you want. I'd love to get your thoughts on everything. But here, this is from one of my favorite YouTubers, Rocky Mountain Mike, in honor of Devin Nunes and the Twitter account Devin Nunes Cow. This is called Cowtown Funk.
Cow. The cow, the cow, the cow. The cow, the cow, the cow. The cow, the cow, the cow. The cow, the cow.
This twit, that psycho, Devin Nunes, that white dope. This one for that rat snake, that trumpet boy, that snowflake. Crying, whining, getting all up in that Twitter. Got a lawsuit, got a screw loose, gonna sue that cow, so silly. He's so dumb, so dumb. Yeah, I can call the police on that Twitter man. He's not smart, get smart. That mean old cow is just breaking his heart. I'm not smart, hot damn. Say his name, he's just a dumb brain fart, brain fart, brain fart. He's about that Fox News money, break it down. Nunez cow, hallelujah. Nunez cow, hallelujah. Nunez cow, hallelujah. That Twitterverse gonna get down, give it to you. That Twitterverse gonna get down, give it to you. Never Nunez cow gonna get down, give it to you. That cow's escaped the barn already. Can't believe he's that dumb. Dumb.
Yes, he's frustrated, but will he be looking for political payback? And who's going to pay that pound of flesh?
Well, in terms of political payback, the people that I talked
Orange
to
face,
in the White
baby.
House over...
You alright? Bust down, Melania. You alright? I want to see you bust down. Bust down, Melania. Bust down, Melania. I want to see you bust down. Pick it up, now break that down. Break it down. Speed it up, then slow that down on the wall. Slow it down. Bust it, bust down. Bust down, bust it, bust it. Bust down on the wall. Over. Bust down, Melania. Bust down, Melania. I want to see you bust down. Over. Pick it up, now break that down. Break it down. Speed it up, then slow that down on the wall. Slow it down. Bust it, bust down. Bust down, bust it, bust it. Bust down on the wall. Over. Orange face, baby. You alright? I'm every woman's fantasy. Orange face, baby. The American people voted me as their president. It's their fault. They're stupid. Don't be mad at me. Don't be mad at me. I want to see you bust down. Bust down. Bend that shit over on the wall. Yeah. Make that shit clap. She threw it back, so I had to double back on the wall. Say the name, I'm Trump. I'll keep running. 2 terms ain't enough. And I promise nobody with the smoke. I'ma run it, I'ma do it. You gon' love it. I'm gon' get these damn votes. I got the up. Then I hit the shoulder lane. Keep player. I'm the president. Don't act like you ain't heard of me. Orange face, baby. Bust down, Melania. I want to see you bust down. Bust down. Bend that shit over. Bend it over. You alright? Now make that shit clap on the wall. Now toot that thing up. Toot it up. This made me hungry. I need some burgers and a fresh cup. Bust down, Melania. Bust down, Melania. I want to see you bust down. Pick it up. Now break that shit down. Break it down. Speed it up. Then slow that shit down on the wall. Slow it down. Bust it. Bust down. Bust down. Bust it. Bust it. Bust down on the wall. Over. Bust down, Melania. Bust down, Melania. I want to see you bust down. Pick it up, now break that shit down. Break it down. Speed it up, then slow that shit down on the wall. Slow it down. Bust it, bust down. Bust down, bust it, bust it. Bust down on the wall.
Thank you very much. Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Hey, everybody. We are well in hour number 2. Matt Connarton, Unleashed in the Afternoon. We are live on WMNH 95.3 FM on this beautiful Monday, March 25th, 2019. Particularly beautiful for the president. I'm sure he's having a great day between the Mueller probe seeming to go his way and, of course, what happened to one of his enemies, Michael Avenatti. So, lots of exciting stuff. And
what did happen to Michael Avenatti? I really don't know what happened because I don't follow news.
Oh, were you just walking in when I was talking about that?
I was trying to park my car.
Yeah, he's been arrested and charged with extortion because he tried to extort $10 million out of Nike. And,
how did he do what?
Yes, and that's frowned upon. He said, "I'm going to go public with this information if you don't give me giant bags of money." And he put it in an email, which you shouldn't do.
What is this going to mean to Hillbilly Jim's niece, I know, which means with in Latin,
Mm-hmm.
third or fourth wife, Stormy Daniels. She got arrested too recently.
She got arrested?
She was stripping and she allowed contact. Oh, yeah.
That's the worst kind of contact, the bottle boo contact. That's terrible.
It was, wasn't it?
You know who else it's a great day for? According to rightwingwatch.org, you're familiar with Lance Wall now, of course.
I can't believe I forgot who Nunes was.
Oh,
He's
Devin
a real
Nunes,
twit.
Yes, he is. Yes, his lawsuit's already been thrown out.
We talked about him all the time when we were on TV.
Oh, yeah, Nunes, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What a guy. No, Lance Wall now, of course, has actually Well,
I really don't know who he is.
He calls himself the firefighter prophet. He's one of these evangelical right-wing talk show hosts, and he believes that he can see the future. And Lance is now claiming that the Mueller report proves his prophetic gifts, that he, in fact, can see the future. This is proof because he knew it all along.
Does it prove that Donald John Trump is the risen...
Well, I think that goes...
I'll say Antichrist, but I won't say the other thing.
That goes without saying, I think. I mean, that's obvious.
That he's the Antichrist or the opposite of the Antichrist?
No, the opposite. He's
the risen of the opposite Antichrist.
Yes, exactly.
Ooh.
Something else is playing here. I got to click this off. What else is playing? I want to make sure we... Oh, there we go. I want to make sure we hear this Lance Wallnow audio.
Jesus.
Yes.
Barbara Streisand has a big house.
Oh, are you reading about the Streisand effect?
Yeah. I didn't know you have big houses like that in Malibu.
Why isn't this playing? Might have to refresh this.
You know that Nunes was a Boston Celtics fan since he's been a teenager. So it just proves that, everybody's got some goods.
Yes. All right. Here's Lance Wall now.
A Purim.
Yeah.
Feast of Purim. So, guys know that Esther the queen, Mordecai the Jew, behold, I've given Esther the house of Haman. You guys know the story that this wicked guy Haman was going to destroy all the Jews, and then God turned the situation around so the Jews could protect themselves. And Haman was hanged on the gallows that he laid up for the Jews. He was going to go get his enemies, and God flipped it around.
Thank God.
That happened. And I was so mocked by moronic, like right-wing watch people, because I had said a year ago that when we hit the third month of Sivan and the third and 20th day, I began to pray that God was going to reverse the curse that was working against Donald Trump. And here, as the Feast of Purim, this week comes to pass, it's being reversed. And now a whole lot of people that said, oh, watch for the indictments, their credibility is totally shot. We've been accurate so far because everybody's sitting there on social media. They're all the secular people that are Trump supporters. They're high-fiving the few that actually from the beginning didn't believe that this thing was. And I'm telling you guys, from the beginning, you and I have been accurate on this, and we do have the prophetic perspective. Nobody else does. We got the spiritual and the political thing.
Wow, there you go.
Now, is that Lance, or is that there seems to be more than one firefighter prophet?
That's Lance Wall now. Oh, I've got my prophets confused. Mark Taylor is the firefighter prophet.
The other one is the business consultant prophet.
Right, yes. He's a prophet in more than one way. He's a prophet and a prophet, you might say.
A profiteer, yeah.
Yes,
Profiteering from profiting.
Oh, my goodness. Fred Boenig says, here is a song that might apply. It was written for GWB, George W. Bush, but the statement still applies. Well, that's something... let's see. I'll go ahead and click this, and perhaps we'll play it at the end of the program. No. Fred's always very careful about that because he's a radio guy and himself, and he doesn't want to get me in trouble.
Is he going to apologize to Mike Doyle?
Oh, I really doubt it.
Yeah, because he's not big enough to apologize.
I
apologize to Mark.
That's not
nice. Is it
nice.
Mark Doyle or Mike Doyle?
It's Mike Doyle. Now you owe Mike Doyle another apology.
I apologize
for butchering his name.
Mike Durrell.
Mike
Durrell, I apologize.
Heidi Hamer in the Facebook live chat says, release the whole report.
I apologize to Heidi, too.
I want to see the whole report. Absolutely. And by the way,
Yeah. Come on with some more BS.
What do you mean?
You've lost.
I haven't lost anything. I said all along I was skeptical.
The box score is going to change anything?
The box score? Is that like some weird sports reference?
You see, these pathetic Democrats are going to, we didn't see the whole thing. They won't give up. They won't apologize. The Archangel Michael, who just happened to be here when I was looking for the firefighter prophet, who turned out to be somebody else than what you said.
Yeah.
No Lance. It was Mark Taylor.
Mm.
I got it wrong. Archangel Michael come down and smite you until you apologize. I mean, that's the Christian thing to do.
All right, yes.
I mean, we have our own... we had a person over at the flower shop used to apologize. Makes you a better something or other.
I don't think he apologized very much.
He did when he had to.
There was one day he had to apologize, certainly, yes. Yes, indeed. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
It's your old pal Fred. And
you go apologize.
And I don't need to apologize to Mr. Doyle.
You
this
better.
has nothing to do with Hillary's emails.
Yeah.
He has not been exonerated for collusion.
Oh no! Come on.
Or obstruction. And the only
Oh.
and if anybody was to say there was no collusion, that would be craziness. It may be
Right,
not triable as a crime.
Mueller's just a
but
bum.
we saw collusion.
Mueller's just a
102
guy
times.
off the street. They brought in to cover everything up. Right? Come on.
Ooh, I think you guys are going to fight. That's good.
It's so ridiculous.
Good radio.
You can't even give in. You can't even. That's the problem with people. I mean,
That's a broad statement.
This was stunning. What happened?
He's read the report, right? John's read the report.
I've read the.
He's seen it all. He hasn't
because
seen
Barr
what decided to release.
Barr is another one of those people that just they're beyond the pale. They're utterly corrupt. I mean, come on. I've been a liberal Democrat.
I'm not
all
saying
my
he's
life,
corrupt,
since
but
as a
he
kid.
auditioned for the job by saying there's no way to that the president can't.
Come on, bite the
obstruct
bullet, buddy.
Justice.
Bite the bullet. There was a
I think
stunning,
didn't what's her name?
repudiation.
Didn't Martha?
Martha?
What's her name? The woman.
What woman?
Who has the home show? Martha
Stewart.
Was the home show?
Stewart. Martha Stewart went to jail. Because she lied about something that wasn't even a crime, but
Right.
she went to jail for that.
So she went. Come on.
So
Now,
the obstruction of
she
justice
went to jail
is
for something
whether
that's
a crime or not.
Okay, a multimillionaire goes to jail for that wasn't a crime. Now, see, you're this is absurd. I mean, nobody.
Oh, really?
It's
What did she go to jail for?
You go. This is absurd.
She went to jail
You're
for
so
lying.
Foolish. That wasn't a crime, right? She just goes to jail. She's got a battery of lawyers, and they also must have screwed up. They were probably dropped.
John,
No,
I know you'd like to ramble on, but listen.
You can't admit
here's the deal.
that you've been
Did
repudiated.
Did she? What
You're
was
not
the crime she
there
went to
is
jail for?
There is a saying I learned when I was in the Army. I can't repeat it on air.
Right.
But it's you don't argue with somebody like this, and it is. I'll tell you what the phrase is afterwards. You have to put your you can't argue with this. They're always going to be right. I'll have to take this call.
I'm just asking you a question, John. Answer the
question.
What did she go to jail for? What did Martha Stewart go to jail for?
John can no longer hear you. He received a phone call and he has left the room, which is too bad because I actually really like when you guys argue. It's good radio.
Well, all I'm saying is what she went to jail for was obstructing justice.
Right.
She went to jail because she lied about something that in reality wasn't a crime. What was the crime was that she obstructed justice by lying and not telling the truth when she was asked.
Right.
She thought it was a crime.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
And that's exactly what she went to jail for.
Yeah.
For 3 years.
Yeah. She went away
Now, the other thing is, we saw collusion. We know that there was things that were, whether it was done knowingly that it was to the Russian government, but they did meet with Russians, right? I mean, we all do realize they met with Russians to get dirt on Hillary.
Right.
And then they all lied about it.
And Manafort.
They also lied about, one of the reasons why Manafort is in jail is because he lied about the thing that happened at the cigar bar.
Right.
He lied about it.
That's right. And
he's in jail.
And we know now, too, that because of his own lawyers sharing out that information inadvertently, that he was actively sharing polling information with the Russians during the campaign while he was chairman.
Right. And Cambridge Analytica was caught sharing data with them, and they were working the Mercers who were funding the Trump campaign and were the ones who had Bannon and Kellyanne and Bossie. Those were all members of their staff that were funding it. And Bannon, who was working for Trump, was one of the owners of Cambridge Analytica. We know that they actually gave data to the Russians. That came out.
Right.
Whether that was illegal or not, that was true that they did it. And
right.
It's funny, all those people And Cohen also got in trouble for lying and got time for lying, but because he didn't mention the fact that they were that they had been going longer with the Trump Tower in Moscow. That's true, right? That's one of the things he was charged with, is lying to Congress.
Yeah.
About Trump Tower in Moscow.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
So that was all. I mean, I don't know how you see it any different, but those may not be chargeable things, but they were colluding.
Right. But politically speaking, I mean, putting aside the legal questions for a minute, politically speaking, this is a pretty big win for Trump because he can say,
of course it is.
He can say no collusion, and everybody just goes, okay, yeah.
But it's a win until they come back, till they actually read the Mueller investigation. And remember, he farmed out probably all the money laundering charges to the Southern District of New York.
Right.
He probably most of that got farmed out, and everything that has Trump's name on it is currently under investigation.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's why
they might not be done with the Russians yet.
Yeah, well, that's why I keep saying too. And I think I'd said this before, and you agreed with me that the Mueller report, really, the Mueller probe, really was the opening act. It's the SDNY investigation that's the main event. That's where the real action is.
And Mueller farmed some of that out because that is non-pardonable.
Right, exactly.
He didn't even interview Don Jr. He didn't even interview Jared Kushner. He didn't even interview, Ivanka.
Right.
Now, all those people had information. 2 of them were in the meeting. Right?
Yeah.
He did not ask if Don Jr. told his father about it, which Cohen said he did.
Right.
So, I mean, as much as we all say, okay, and the other thing is, this collusion thing is probably what has gotten anybody impeached or in trouble. It's that's the key thing is collusion. That's what got. That's not collusion. I mean,
conspiracy.
Obstruction of justice.
Yeah.
Obstruction of justice.
Right.
Is the key thing, and it is an impeachable offense.
Well, that's the thing. It's so often it's not the crime; it's the cover-up that gets you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what happened to Martha Moore. She tried to cover up something that wasn't necessarily a crime, but she lied to the prosecutors.
Oh, Martha Stewart. Yeah.
That's what happened. So,
yeah.
So, I don't have to apologize because it had nothing to do with Hillary's emails. That's
Right.
why Doyle and I would have this disagreement. But, the fact that he didn't get caught yet, we'll see how it all works. And in the end, I do believe that a man who couldn't help but steal in every business he's been in and get caught in every business he's ever been in from the Trump University having to pay $25 million in fraud to his charity, to the casinos where he was breaking all the laws, getting money from his father, and all the skimming, having illegal immigrants. I can't imagine that if they went through his years of bookkeeping, that New York isn't going to find plenty of things before he realized he was going to run for president.
Right. Well, that's the thing. Now he has to win a second term to avoid indictment.
Exactly.
Which is funny.
Now, and think about that for a minute.
Yeah. well,
right. So, again, I had to pay somebody $5 yesterday because I had a bet that Mueller was on, and I mailed out the check. It went out today.
Yeah.
Man of my word. But I don't owe Doyle that, and John's got a lot of nerve to say that I'm not, that's not the kind of person I am. I'll admit when I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But I first have to be wrong.
Well, John has difficulty having any kind of linear discussion when someone agrees with him. I don't know if you've noticed that. He's not in the room, so I can say that. Brian Brody refers to him as Cellophane John. But, yeah. But it is funny. It's funny to think that, because you know my theory, I don't believe Trump ever wanted to be president. But now that he is president, and that led to all of this, now he has to remain president to avoid indictment. He has to win a second term for a job that I don't think he ever wanted to begin with.
You're right. I agree with you. And I don't know, again, even if he got everyone that voted for him the last time, we all realize, and a lot of people didn't vote because they didn't like Hillary.
Yeah.
And some people even voted for him because they didn't like Hillary.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that he has enough people. He has a strong group, and they're going to vote for him. But I don't know that there's enough voters that would now vote for him. And the fact that the Democrats are, in 2018, they had so many more people voting than before, and they voted in, the island of misfit toys. In reality, considering none of they had so many people that were not necessarily, your mainstream candidates. So there's a huge block of new voters, and I think that between now and the end, there's going to be they didn't win the states that Trump won. I mean, the Republicans didn't win in the states that Trump won, the swing states. I mean, Pennsylvania went much more blue. They elected a lot of people that were certainly in my district they went blue, and the same as in Wisconsin and Michigan. So those were the ones that were key swing states, and now they did vote in 2018 in the midterm very blue.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I don't know though. I think
that's all I know.
I think if the economy
and the
holds,
fact that they're changing in so many states are now changing the way they do the electoral college, the blue states, so that they give all the votes to the winner.
Yeah. I think, though, if the economy holds, my prediction, I'm sure you've heard me say it, is that if he survives the Mueller probe and the economy holds, I think he's got a pretty good shot at a second term.
But does he have enough voters? That's the point.
Yeah.
The people that voted for Hillary, would you think those people at any point would now still vote for him?
No.
I think there's a lot of that going over that way.
No, but I think everybody who voted for him the first time, who was enthusiastic about him, I mean,
certainly.
I've said it a million times. It's like the cult of Trump. These are the most loyal voters. He
didn't lose a voter. Did he gain any?
Yeah.
That's the question.
Saint Reagan.
He actually had 3 million short.
Yeah, I mean, Saint Reagan would be envious of the loyalty that this guy just engenders in people. It's baffling to me. I can't figure it out, but. The real diehard Trump supporters, there's nothing he can do that will ever disappoint or embarrass them.
You're right. You're 100% right.
So that's why.
Again, I think it's a matter of now just the fact that the numbers of blue votes is not only growing, but his isn't necessarily shrinking, but it isn't growing. People aren't coming and going, I liked Hillary and I voted for her, but you know what? I really like Trump now. I don't see it. I see the same people that voted for him last time. They may vote for him, but he's not picking up new people.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I agree with you there. Yeah, you're probably
right.
All
right. Well, you have one. I'll keep listening. I'm sure John will be having something to say about me, but that's okay.
I'm sure I thought maybe he had left because he left without really. He's been in and out of the room, but his phone is still on the desk, so I assume he's coming back.
Okay.
So
well, he just can't stand when I don't agree with him. So
I know he gets all flustered.
Well, I love him, so it doesn't matter. He's a great guy.
No, he is.
We don't necessarily agree on things.
That's right. That makes for good radio. All right, Fred. Thank you so much for the call, my friend.
Talk to you later, boss.
All right, bye-bye. All right, Fred Boenig from the Daily Ripple, thedailyripple.org. Check that out online. It's a great site. Oh, just in time. John Hopwood is back. Hang on.
A call from arranging a memorial for Mr. Baseball.
Oh, yeah.
So that kind of takes the fun out of having some fun with Fred.
I know.
So I don't really want to talk about that right now.
Yeah. No, I don't know if you heard. I opened the show Friday saying a few words about Mr. Baseball.
It's a shock for everybody because, Joel and I had just interviewed him, and we thought he was
Yeah.
going to be on the show
I saw the
in
video.
a week.
Saw the
We're
video.
trying
you
to
posted.
arrange a new sports show for the station where he could come in, not every week, but he could call in or something about baseball. So
Yeah.
it was a real shocker. So
Yeah.
maybe another time I can talk about him, but I'm going to head out now.
All right, John.
Chastising the Yeti isn't fun right now.
Yeah.
But I'm sure someday the opportunity will present itself again.
What opportunity is that?
To chastise you.
Oh, right. Well,
to collar you.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I don't know about the collaring. That's,
Has a Yeti ever been collared?
I can't answer that. I don't speak for all Yetis.
What was that?
John
McCain is becoming rambunctious.
Why'd you hear something?
Yeah, concussion.
Oh, really?
Must be up in heaven. He's dropping those 250-pound bombs on the, I won't use the term they used in Vietnam, on the peasants.
This might be him calling.
Take care.
All right, John. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this? Hello? Hello? It's the Phantom. Might be another ghost. Oh, my goodness. Well, I don't know what to make of that.
Those kind of remarks are very hurtful.
I agree, Ghost of John McCain. I agree. So there is this opinion piece by John F. Harris just shared out on Politico. It's an analysis. If you thought Mueller had settled matters, think again. In today's Washington, even the rule of law goes through the partisan ringer. Says here, we won't go through the whole article, but because part of what's fascinating to me, actually, a couple of things are fascinating about this to me is, how do the Democrats proceed? Because, like Fred and I were talking about, legally, this is a long way from settled, and hopefully we'll get to see the full report and all of that. But politically, Trump is in a much better position right now. So it'll be interesting to see how the Democrats proceed from here, but also it's been interesting to see how the media reacts to this. I mean, Rachel Maddow the other night literally looked like she was going to cry. She kind of looked like she did on election night. Let's see. But it says here, so this is on Politico. If special counsel Robert Mueller had reached the opposite conclusion, that there was a criminal conspiracy between Trump and the Russians to tilt the 2016 election, that would mean that a sitting U.S. president would be credibly accused of something very close to treason. The fact that a respected and diligent prosecutor determined that not to be the case should be regarded, even by people who loathe Trump, as a good thing, no? The path to Mueller's conclusion, of course, was so littered with troubling evidence that it took him and his investigators 2 years to walk it, and along the way they proved criminal deceit by several of Trump's closest associates. Again, like Michael Cohen, like Paul Manafort, etc. He and other agencies of government have also proved beyond serious dispute that a hostile foreign power manipulated a very close election in ways that possibly or even probably affected the outcome. Even people who love Trump should regard these as bad things. No? And by the way, that's something that I've actually pushed back on a little bit. These memes, I always say, when you're talking about Russian meddling and Russian influence in the election, and then I see the cartoon of, I know I've used this example before, but I see the cartoon drawing of Jesus arm wrestling with Hillary Clinton, and Hillary's saying something like, when I'm president, Satan will be in charge or something. And Jesus is saying, well, I'm voting for Trump, white Jesus, of course. Well, I'm voting for Trump. And it's like, anyone who looks at that cartoon and feels any affinity for it has already made up their mind. You know what I mean? Like, there's nobody thinking, I might vote for Hillary. And then they see that. And then they go, oh, no, that's convinced me I'm going to vote for Trump. So I've always been a little bit skeptical of that. Actually, we have a call. Hopefully there's somebody there this time. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
Hey, Matt, it's Mike Doyle.
Mike Doyle, welcome back, sir. How are you?
I have been listening to you also. And I like your show. I always tell you it's stimulating, right?
Yes.
It's food for thought.
Oh,
but
thank you.
You're getting very close to me having to throw you in the fake news category.
Uh-oh.
If you just sit there and keep saying right to everything Fred says, because half of the stuff he says is incorrect. So
what did he say?
Started with Martha Stewart, and she got caught lying. She was caught on 4 different charges, including inside trading, which she sold $200,000 worth of stock. and it was conspiracy to commit fraud and all these other things, and lying was one of them. So for him to use lying as the only charge, she physically sold off stock that went belly up the next day. So that's one lie right there. So, but for him to sit there and just talk about the Hillary emails meant nothing to this whole thing. What do you think this whole thing started? What do you think? Don't forget, she was under her BlackBerry, because I don't want Fred to call up and say it wasn't a laptop. Her BlackBerry was subpoenaed. She was supposed to turn it in. She destroyed it, and then went to a company and had a company fix for $50,000. Take it off the cloud. Please bid it so it's off the cloud. Those 5 people went in front of Congress and pleaded the fifth on every question. No, we plead the fifth because it might have been. 2 days later, she sends her husband on the tarmac to talk to Loretta Lynch to say, listen, you got to have Comey say, although it really wasn't a crime what she did, that it was just a...
We don't know that, Mike.
It was just a bad move by her.
Mike, on her part. That's conjecture, Mike.
Later,
you don't know that.
Comes out and says it's just bad judgment. Come on, it's
Mike,
all a game. It's all
Mike,
all
hang on. Hang on, Mike, because you want to talk about facts, and you're adding a lot of conjecture there. Now, I will meet you halfway on the Loretta Lynch thing. Obviously, that was entirely inappropriate, that meeting, and she should have gotten the hell out of there immediately. I mean, just the appearance of that was really bad, but we don't know what was said during that meeting, Mike. I mean, I don't even hear on Fox News them saying, oh, we know what was said, and you know, so-and-so said this to so-and-so. Come on.
That's history, man. They talked about that way back when. It's so old. That's history. They don't even talk about it anymore because it's so silly, and nobody listened to it. It's ridiculous. Come on. Why did Comey come out 2 days later
now I'm
lost.
lost.
And go, her destroying a subpoenaed BlackBerry was not really a crime. We're just going to call it very bad judgment by her 2 days after her husband's on the tarmac talking to Loretta Lynch. Oh, gee, that's odd. Yeah, they were talking about grandkids and golf, which is what
you don't know.
Bill Clinton said. Yeah, you're right.
You don't know what they were talking about.
He ran all the way out there to talk about that.
For all we know, he may have pressured her and she said, no, I can't do that or something. We don't know. Again, I don't disagree with you that encounter should not have happened and that was unacceptable. I don't hear anyone defending it. But we don't know, Mike. That's conjecture.
The direct emails? Are we just forgetting those? That we'll find another way to take this guy out? He will not become president?
That's also that was completely inappropriate. He shouldn't have been sending emails or text messages or anything saying anything like that. No, I agree with you there. I don't think it proves that the whole thing was made up, but I mean...
And he was involved in the whole dossier. He was involved in that whole investigation and getting it started for Russian collusion.
Well, the thing about
count either. That's just. I mean, it's just silly.
The thing about the dossier, Mike.
Mantra of saying yes, yes, yes to Fred when he's spewing out all this old crazy Democratic. Just the truth is the truth. Just go with it. You're a newsman.
Well,
a newsman.
Well, Mike, I'm looking for one thing. So you started with Martha Stewart. So I'm looking at Wikipedia. And this backs up what Fred was saying about what actually got Martha Stewart in terms of it was
4 different counts.
Right, but it was
lying, conspiracy, fraud, and something else. But she ended up, if you're reading that, you'll read that she sold $195,000 worth of stock the day before the stock crashed.
Right, but then
inside trading.
Yeah, I mean, I can't read the whole thing in detail right now, but it looks like what took her down was the line about it and trying to cover it up.
Well, you're wrong. You're wrong. So you got to read more. 4 counts. You got 4 counts.
Yeah, I don't really want to.
Well, fraud, lying, the actual case of insider trading. Well, I don't know what that's called.
Yeah.
But conspiracy.
So Mike.
4. But anyways,
okay.
All I'm saying is, it's great to have a stimulating show, but just report facts, man.
So Mike.
Innuendos that this guy Fred comes on and just not saying. I mean, just I don't know. guys he picked, and they were all Democrats. And these are the best of the best. And they all turned this thing upside down for 22 months, and they came out with nothing. And now you're saying, or Fred's saying, or somebody's saying, they're kicking it over to the New York because it'll be hurting Trump more. If they did that,
they're not kicking any. They're not kicking.
Would it be a derelict of duty?
They're not kicking anything over. That's already in motion, Mike. The Southern District of New York already has an active investigation. Some of that's already leaked out. Like for example, the double dealing Trump did with his phony Trump Foundation using some of the money that came in to pay expenses.
That has the hair out for him, the senator from Grassley. That's next. Okay, let's try to. I'm sure they're going to find something that 10 years ago he didn't pay a drywaller, or he didn't. With all the
Mike.
He does and all the negotiations
I know.
and stuff.
He's so pure. He's such a good guy. He's never done anything wrong.
I didn't hear that. Where did you hear that? There you go again. It's fake news. I didn't say that. I didn't say that at all.
Mike, you're sitting there. Mike, you're sitting there going sarcastically, "Oh, what? They're going to find that 10 years ago he didn't pay a drywaller." How am I supposed to take that? Because I know Trump supporters think he's just pure as the driven snow.
What? I didn't say that. Why are you saying that? The guy's been in the major league game playing with large dollars, large contracts, hotels for years.
Yeah.
You don't think that he could have? You don't think that somewhere along the line there was a deal that was a little shady that he did, and he probably said he shouldn't have done? I'm sure. I'm not saying he's pure as the driven snow. But all I'm saying is the fake stuff you guys are bringing up. The fake news you keep bringing up, you guys can't get over it. Get over it.
What fake news?
I don't understand.
I don't know what you mean by what fake news did we bring up? Because you and Fred.
How's the economy doing?
Because you and Fred disagree about Martha Stewart? And what have I been saying about the economy?
How's the unemployment rate going?
Mike, what have I been saying about that?
Across the board. How's the VA doing?
Mike,
8 years to try to change that. He didn't do a friggin' thing. 8 years.
Mike.
He had to fix the VA, and he never fixed it. And Trump did it in his first year in office.
Mike.
Now if you get treated bad by the VA, you can go to a regular doctor. That's never been done before. You ever talk about that? I don't think you do.
Yeah, actually I have, and I talk about the economy quite a bit, and I was talking earlier on the show about how great the economy's doing and why I think that's one of the reasons Trump has a great shot of winning re-election in 2020.
Well, I did hear you say that, and I'll give you props to that.
Well, it's true. I'm not
going to get any more voters. I'm just saying,
I'm not.
People like that stupid. They're going to look and say, "Hey, the ball's rolling pretty good down the road here. Why are we going to change the ball? Let's kick the same ball down the road." But I don't know. Anyways, it's just when I hear that guy Fred just spew on, and half of the stuff he says is untrue, it just drives me nuts.
Well, I'm not particularly an expert on Martha Stewart. So if Fred tells me something about Martha Stewart,
I agree.
Here's
the most important thing. Your show gets people talking, and whether or not like this, it's good because it's good for the mind and it's good for everybody to talk this stuff out, and you know what I mean? Try to come to some middle of the road.
Yeah, well,
so,
we agree there.
Good show as usual.
All right, thank you, Mike. All right, bye-bye. All right, that was Mike Doyle. Wow. Let's see. I didn't really want to get into a big thing about Martha Stewart, but let's see. Fred says, has he read the report, referring to the Mueller report, of course. This is in the Facebook live chat. They made him close the Trump Foundation. Let's see. Oh, we got another call. This may be Fred. Hi, is this Fred?
No, it's John Hopwood.
Oh, John Hopwood. Hey.
I'm serious about apologizing to Mike Doyle because he was he's made a lot of valid points and we've ignored him because we all get worked up and we love to well, Mike used to have a show for years too. So,
who's ignored him?
Histrionic personality disorder.
Are you being sarcastic?
No, not
I can't
at
tell.
all.
Who's ignored him?
Happened,
I always take his call and listen to him.
You aren't getting your mind around what's happened. What's happened is significant. When you had all those stories in the Washington Post from sources, I mean, come on. And the other, it's something. We've been bamboozled. But the thing is, no, he did not kick anything. Nothing's getting kicked down to the Southern District about collusion. It's over. It's over. And I'm going to caution you, and Fred Boenig, you don't know what law's like. Law's a living thing, and people, if you legitimate going after his family, and if you come down on them hard, every president of the United States will be harassed to a degree that would be unprecedented. Now,
they shouldn't be
Republicans
investigated?
would be doing the same thing, I believe, if Hillary was in. But
oh yeah, of course. I mean, how many Benghazi investigations did we get? I lost count. I literally lost count. But so we shouldn't investigate.
We didn't have
Trump or his
fake
family.
Information being pumped up by Washington Post. I'm in a car now, so I can't really hear your side of the conversation. I always use my bad ear, the one that's blown out in the Army.
Yeah, I've noticed that. You do that a lot.
But I can never hear you because I realize I'm supposed to put the
that's
phone
why.
to the other ear. But,
right. Yes.
Here, I'll try that. Say something.
Hi,
You're much louder in this ear.
Oh, well, that's good. I don't even know.
This all needs to be processed, but
yeah. So should they? Are you advocating that they should call it off then? The Southern District of New York, everything they're doing, just call it off, throw it in the trash.
That's separate from the collusion.
Well, I know, but you were just saying, you shouldn't investigate his family, it's harassment or whatever. I don't know, or is that what you're saying? I'm not sure what you're saying.
I'm saying that you will see after this that the fervor to go after the family will be dampened because there always was a consensus of behavior, and that includes the courts of law where justices are lobbied, which is a real thing, that, enough is enough, because the next person that comes down the pike, they'll savage them. Law is a living thing. It's not all this, black and white, as you'll see. There is a standard that has to be met. The thing about Mueller, he's a judge. He was in the Justice Department. It's the standard by which he can bring a successful prosecution. And you're innocent until proven guilty. That's the unique thing about the Anglo-Saxon system.
Right.
In others, the continental system, you get convicted, and then you're convicted more often, and then you go to the next round of the appeal, and things are worked out that way. Like there was that murder involving an American in Italy. That's that type of system. Once you're convicted in a court of law in an Anglo-Saxon system, you've lost your rights. No matter what they have in movies, TV shows, appeals aren't automatic unless it's a death penalty case.
All right, John.
There's all sorts of...
We're running out of time.
I'll talk to you later.
All right, John.
I can hear you in this ear.
Oh,
Bye.
good. All right, thanks. Bye-bye. All right, so I want to make sure we get this in because, Mike Doyle doesn't seem to think there's any validity to what the Southern District of New York is investigating and what the state AG in New York is investigating and whatnot. But here's the New York Times has this story. Trump Foundation will dissolve accused of shocking pattern of illegality. This is from December of 2018. Yeah, so in other words, essentially, to sum it up, because we're almost out of time, law enforcement made the Trump Foundation close and said they cannot continue to operate because of what the judge called a shocking pattern of illegality, because it's a scam. The Trump Foundation was a scam. I haven't seen anyone on, in conservative media, whether it be Fox News or the Wall Street Journal or anybody else answer this. I'm sure, people who love and revere Trump think this is fake news, but this happened. It's a matter of public record. I'll read a little bit of this because we're almost out of time. The Donald J. Trump Foundation, once billed as the charitable arm of the president's financial empire, agreed to dissolve on Tuesday. Again, this was back in December, and give away all its remaining assets under court supervision as part of an ongoing investigation and lawsuit by the New York Attorney General. Because you also have that, by the way. So you've got the Southern District of New York federally, which is separate from the Mueller probe, although obviously a lot of information was shared. And you've also got the investigation by the state AG in New York. So New York State also investigating. So the foundation was accused by the AG, Barbara Underwood, of, quote, functioning as little more than a checkbook to serve Mr. Trump's business and political interests, and of engaging in a shocking pattern of illegality, unquote, that included unlawfully coordinating with Trump's 2016 presidential campaign. In addition to shuttering the charity, her office has pursued a lawsuit that could bar President Trump and his 3 oldest children from the boards of other New York charities, as well as force the payment of millions in restitution and penalties. So that's from the New York Times. Fred did share that link in there, but we got to go. We are out of time. We'll play this. We'll play at least a little bit of this song that Fred sent, Todd Snyder, called "You Got Away with It." Tale of Two Frat Bros. And so we'll finish up with that. So thank you, everybody. Thank you to everybody in the Facebook live chat. Thank you to everybody who called. Thank you to John Hopwood for stopping in. And that's it for now. Exciting times in which we live, my friends. We got to get out of here. I will talk at you all a little bit later. If you missed any part of today's show, it'll be up in just a little bit. WMNHradio.org. Bye, everybody.
A tale of two frat brothers.
IPMNation.com.